You know the feeling. That heavy, sinking sensation in the pit of your stomach. It usually happens on a Sunday evening or perhaps right after your phone buzzes with a specific name on the screen. It is not just annoyance. It is a physical tightening of the chest, a heat rising behind a brace for impact. You are preparing for battle. Maybe it is a colleague who undermines you with a smile, a family member who knows exactly where your old wounds are buried, or a partner who seems incapable of hearing your side of the story. You walk away from these interactions feeling drained, hollow out, and often shaking with a rage you cannot express. And the worst part is not the interaction itself. It is the aftermath. Long after they have left the room, long after the phone call has ended, they are still there. They follow you into the shower, where you replay the argument, inventing the perfect comeback you didn't say. They follow you into your bed, stealing your sleep as you stare at the ceiling, wondering why they are the way they are. It feels like a siege. It feels like your mind is an occupied territory, and you have lost the keys to your own peace. If you are nodding along, breathing a little shallower just thinking about it, then I invite you to take a deep breath with me right now. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. You have arrived in the right place. In this quiet corner of the internet, we are not doing quick fixes or shallow platitudes. We do in the architecture of the soul. Today, we are going to build a fortress. We are going to explore the ancient Stoic art of dealing with they had difficult people not by changing them, because we cannot, but by fortifying yourself so deeply that their chaos simply cannot enter. We often think the problem lies entirely with them. And to be fair, the behavior is likely objectively difficult. They may be narcissistic, arrogant, ungrateful, or rude. But the Stoics, those ancient warriors of the mind, would ask us a hard question. A question that might sting at first, but acts as a healing balm. They would ask, why did you leave the drawbridge down? You see, we tend to view our emotions as things that happen to us. We say he made me angry, or she hurt my feelings. We speak as if we are passive vessels, and they are the ones pouring the poison in. But Epictetus, the slave-turned-philosopher, offered a radical counter-perspective. He said that men are not disturbed by things, but by the view which they take of them. This is the concept of the Trojan horse. The difficult person stands outside your walls. They can shout, they can insult, they can act out their drama. But they cannot hurt your mind unless you drag the wooden horse inside the city gates. And how shall we drag it in? By following their opinion. Be needing their validation. Be expecting them to be different than they are. Be telling ourselves a story that this shouldn't be happening. But it is happening. And this brings us to the first pillar of our fortress, the art of radical acceptance. Marcus Aurelius, who was the most powerful man in the world, had to deal with constant betrayals, shaming senators, and ungrateful citizens. If anyone had a right to be annoyed, it was him. Yet he wrote in his Stoic he never intended for us to read a powerful reminder. He said to himself, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. He did not say this to be pessimistic. He said it to be prepared. He said it so that when he met a rude person, he wouldn't be shocked. Imagine you are walking in an orchard, and you see a fig tree. You walk up to it, expecting to find a fig. Instead, you find a lemon. You would be surprised. But if you walk up to a fig tree and find a fig, you are not surprised. Marcus S. We surprised when a boorish person acts boorishly? Why are we shocked when a narcissist acts with self-absorption? To expect a difficult person to be kind or empathetic or logical is like expecting a fig tree not to produce figs. It is a madness of our own making. We torture ourselves with the thought of how they should be. But a Stoic looks at the person screaming in the meeting room and thinks, ah, yes. The fig tree is producing figs again. This is the nature of the beast. When you truly accept this, when you stop demanding that reality be different than it is, The tension begins to fade. You stop taking it personally. You realize the behavior is not a statement about you. It is simply what they are. It is their nature. But there is a darker danger to anger than just the loss of peace. When we engage with these people, when we get down in the mud to wrestle with them, we lose something vital. We lose our sovereignty. Consider this carefully. When someone insults you and you immediately flare up in rage, what has just happened? In that split second, you have handed them the remote control to your nervous system. You have said, here, take this far. You now have the power to dictate me blood pressure, me mood, and me thoughts for the rest of the day. Epictetus wanted to spout this with chilling clarity. He said, whoever is capable of angering you becomes your master. Think of the person who frustrates you the most. So you respect them. So you look up to them. Likely not. And yet, if they can ruin your morning with a single sentence, they are your master. You are the puppet, and they are pulling the strings. Does that thought revolt you? It should. It should spark a fire of healthy defiance in your belly. Not a defiance that screams back at them, but a cold, quick defiance that refuses to be enslaved. We must realize that our anger is often a sin that we have attached our well-being to the behavior. We want them to act right so that we can feel good. But that is a trap. The Stoic goal is to build an inner Citadel, a ruling center of the mind that remained untouched, regardless of the storms raging outside. You might be thinking, that sounds wonderful, but how's I actually do it? How's I stand in front of someone who is gaslighting me or belittling me and not react? It requires a shift in perspective. A movement from the ground level, where the fighting happens, to the view from above. When we are in the thick of it, the difficult person seems like a monster. They seem who's powerful and malicious. But let us mount. Let us float up, as the Stoics practiced, and look down at the situation. See this person not as a villain, but as a small, watered actor on a vast stage. Happy peoples are not go around destroying others. Secret peoples are not need to belittle their colleagues to feel big. Peaceful peoples are not create chaos. When someone is projecting toxicity, they are showing you the landscape of their own soul. If their words are bitter, it is because their inner world is bitter. If they are cruel, it is because they are suffering. This doesn't mean you have to like them. It doesn't mean you have to tolerate abuse. But it allows you to move from anger to pity. It changes the dynamic completely. You are no longer the victim under attack, you are the healthy person observing a sick person. You don't get angry at a man with a fever who is going. You step back. You protect yourself. But you don't take the code personally. So, we have established the perspective. We see the difficult person not as a zand, but as a fig tree doing what fig trees are. We see their anger not as strength, but as a symptom of their own internal sickness. But perspective alone is not enough. We need armor. We need to define the walls of our inner citadel. You must draw a line in the sand of your consciousness. On one side of the line are the things this person can touch. They can touch your reputation with their gossip. They can touch your workflow with their incompetence. They can even touch your bank account or your property. These things are, as the Stoics say, indifference. They are external. But on the other side of the line is your ruling reason. Be a director. Your capacity to choose how you respond. That is the title. And that territory is holy ground. It belongs to you, and no one can enter it without your permission. When you are in a confrontation, visualize this boundary. Imagine a wall of glass between you and them. You can see them, you can hear them, but their words are merely noise vibrating against the glass. They cannot penetrate unless you reach out and open the window. And the most powerful lock on that window is a tool that is almost entirely forgotten in our noisy world. It is the weapon of silence. Seneca, the great Roman statesman, famously said that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. When a difficult person provokes you, the urge to react is instantaneous. It is a biological imperative. The ego screams, defend yourself. Strike back. Explain why they are wrong. But this reaction is exactly what the difficult person wants. It is the fuel that keeps the fire burning. If you argue with a narcissist, you are giving them subflavor. If you defend yourself against a bully, you are validating their power to put you on the defensive. Instead, to the Stoic pause. When the insult lands, say nothing. Say nothing. Let the silence hang in the air. Silence is heavy. It is uncomfortable. When you meet Charles with stillness, you create a vacuum. The difficult person expects resistance, they expect a fight. When they meet only silence, their energy has nowhere to go but back onto themselves. You become a mirror, reflecting their own behavior back at them. You might look at them with a mild, detached curiosity and say, nothing. Or perhaps a simple, you hear that you are upset. And then, you stop. You do not explain. You do not justify. You simply hold your ground. This leads us directly to a practice that modern psychology calls grey rocking, but which Epictetus described nearly 2,000 years ago. He told his students to be like the promontory against which the waves continually break. Imagine a jagged rock jutting out of a stormy sea. The waves crash against it with fury. They foam and draw. Does the rock scream back? Does the rock complain that the ocean is wet? Does the rock try to convince the waves to be calm? No. The rock simply stands. It remains solid. And eventually the water falls back into the sea, tempted by the rock's immobility. To practice this, you must become uninteresting. You must become a grey wreck. When you deal with a high-conflict person, strip your language of all emotion. Stick to the facts. Short sentences. Yes. No. I see. That is on perspective. Do not offer them any emotional handholds. If you get angry, they win. If you cry, they win. If you cheat to win their approval, they own you. But if you are boring, if you are as neutral as them, they will eventually lose interest and move on to an easier target. You are preserving your energy for the things that actually matter. But there is a level even deeper than this. A level that requires true strength. It is the practice of benevolent interpretation. This is difficult. It asks us to look at the person who is causing us pain and reframe our judgment of the motives. Socrates famously argued that no one does wrong willingly. He believed that all vice is the result of ignorance. People do bad things because they are operating under the mistaken belief that it will bring them some kind of good. The office bully thinks that dominating others will make them feel safe. The nagging relative thinks their criticism is actually helpful love. They are not necessarily evil, they are confused. They are navigating the world with a broken compass. When you can shift your internal narrative from they are to get me taught they are mistaken about how to be a human, the anger evaporates. It is replaced by a kind of magnanimity. You stop taking their attacks as personal insults and start seeing them as errors in calculation. It is like watching a child trying to solve a math problem and getting it wrong. You don't scream at the child. You might correct him or you might ignore it, but you don't feel hate. Here at the Stoic Century, we talk often about the dichotomy of control. This is the ultimate filter. In any interaction with a difficult person, you must constantly ask yourself what is up to me right now. A tone of voice. Not up to you. Their past behavior. Not up to you. Their refusal to understand logic. Not up to you. Your tone of voice. Up to you, Bill. Your decision to engage or walk away. Up to you. The state of your own peace. Entirely up to you. This brings us to the most liberating religion of all, the art of withdrawal. Sometimes Stoic is the most stoic thing you can do, not to enter, but to exit. Seneca reminded us that life is short, and our time is the only commodity we can never get back. Would you spend it arguing with someone who is committed to misunderstanding you? You have permission to walk away. You have permission to end the conversation. You have permission to leave the room. Peace is not a retreat. It is a strategic redeployment of your resources. You are not running away from them, you are walking towards your own peace. You are closing the gates of the Citadel not because you are afraid, but because the visitor is not worthy of entry. But there is one final trap we must discuss. It is the most vindictive trap of all, and it is the one that keeps us stuck in these toxics for years. It is the desire to win. The desire to have the last word. The desire to prove to them, once and for all, that they are the villain and you are the hero. Marcus Aurelius gave us the antidote to this poison. He said, simply, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Think out that. If someone screams at you, and you scream back, you have not won. You have become them. You have lowered yourself to their frequency. You have allowed their disease to infect your character. The only true win in Stoicism is maintaining your own integrity. If you can walk away from a chaotic interaction having remained calm, fair, and self-controlled, you have won. Even if things take on to mend. Even if they are smirking. Even if tell everyone else they defeated you. You know the truth. You kept your crown. You remain the ruler of your own mind. That is a victory that no one can take away from you. So, let us reclaim your sovereignty. Imagine for a moment that your peace is a flame inside a lantern. For too long, you have been handing this lantern to the winds. You have been letting every gust of other people's moods flicker your light. Today you take the lantern back. You place a dip within the inner citadel. You build the walls of silence, of acceptance, of withdrawal. You realize that you are not a victim of difficult people. You are a student of human nature, navigating a world of fig trees and rough seas. As you go forward into your week, remember this: you cannot control the storm, but you can control the sheep. You cannot silence the noise of the world, but you can find the quiet within yourself. Let them be who they are. You be who you are, grounded, unshakable, and free. If this message found you at the right time, if you are ready to build your walls and reclaim your peace, comment the word stillness below. Let it be a mark of your intention. A signal to yourself that from this moment on, you are the master of your own mind. Thank you for spending this time with me. Walk well, my friend.